So you've got this tiny, squishy, wiggly little human being in your arms, and let's be honest, it can be terrifying. Am I holding them right? Is the head supported? Are they even comfortable? Well, holding a baby doesn't have to be rocket science. In this video, I will show you 5 ways to hold your baby that is comfortable, safe, and it will instantly make you feel more confident. For starters, keep these things in mind. A baby has poor neck control, so you have to make sure that the neck is supported at the front and at the back. So if the baby is over your shoulder, you have to make sure that you have a hand here that the baby doesn't fall backwards. But babies can fall forward too. So say you're holding your baby upright like this, they can still fall forward. So you have to make sure that the neck is supported by either lying on your shoulder or on your arm. Make sure that you keep the neck and the back in a straight line. In whichever way you hold the baby, make sure that the airway is not restricted by having the chin resting on the chest. And you'll see with every position that I'm going to show you, the neck and the back is in a straight line. And lastly, babies can jerk suddenly even if you're holding them. So always be prepared that they might suddenly jerk in a direction. So if you're holding them like this, for instance, for a 3-4 month old baby, this might be okay because they can control their neck. Even if your baby is nicely sleeping on your chest, if there's no support here and this baby suddenly decides to arch back, there's no support. And even though you might be thinking, who holds a baby like this? Before you know it, you might find yourself in a position where you just want to make a quick cup of coffee and you just want to take a quick sip. And in that moment, this baby is jerking back or doing something and you don't have a hand free. And speaking of coffee, never drink a hot beverage over your baby. Even though you might be super careful and nothing can happen, you never know if someone will bump you. So if your baby is lying, for instance, like this, sleeping nicely, and you think you're going to take a quick sip of your coffee, if someone bumps you and you've got a hot beverage, you can injure the baby. It might sound like overkill, and 99% of the people out there will be perfectly fine. But the moment there's a hot beverage and children, there's always a risk of burning. So the first hold, and stay tuned because at the end of the video, I will show you how you can hand your baby to someone else in a safe way. You might have picked up that I was already kind of holding the baby in a couple of ways. And the first one is called the cradle hold, where the baby is lying in the crook of your arm here, which means the head is supported and the back is supported because you've got a hand on your baby's buttock here and you are supporting the back. This position is ideal for breastfeeding and comforting your baby, and if you do need a hand free, like if you need to eat something while your baby is sleeping with you. The second one I've also kind of shown you is the shoulder hold, where the baby is lying on your shoulder. Always make sure that their face is turned outward on your shoulder and not lying into the shoulder like this. Baby is a little bit stiff, and like I said, you have to make sure that the baby is supported. So your one hand or arm is going to be under the baby's buttocks, the other hand is going to be here to support the baby. Even if they are fast asleep, they might still move around, so always make sure that the neck is supported here. This position is great for burping. I've got a video here if you want to see more ways to burp your baby, and it is also a way that they can listen to your heartbeat, which is a familiar sound to them from the time that they were in the womb. Then the football hold, or also known as the rugby hold, is where you have your baby lying. You're holding basically a football or a rugby ball and the baby is under your arm like this. Now this position might look a little bit weird, but this position is ideal for breastfeeding mothers, especially in the early days and especially for first-time moms who are very new to breastfeeding and you want to have a little bit more of control and a visual on how your baby is latching and what is going on, and it also helps your back that you don't have to bend forward too much and get tired with an aching back. Then the belly hold, and for the belly hold I'm going to use a little bit of a softer baby. So a belly hold is great for relieving gas and for reflux, and it's literally what it says. The baby is lying on their tummy on your forearm, so it can be in between the legs like there, and the baby's head is resting on your arm. With your other arm, you are supporting the baby and making sure that they can't roll off your arm. And now this is ideal to burp the baby, and sometimes a lot of babies actually prefer this position if they are tummy sleepers. So you can't put a newborn on their tummy to sleep if you are not right there. But some babies just do really well when they sleep on their tummies. And this position is ideal. Dads usually love this position because they've got a bit of a broader arm, so babies get quite comfortable on the arms and you can walk around. They look like a little tiger in a tree. And you can burp them, and if they fall asleep you can just keep them in this position because, as I've said before, the neck and the back is in a straight line. The baby can't do this because your hand is supporting the chin. Their neck is controlled from this position. They can't really pull up their neck. It's a little bit too heavy for them, so they're in a very safe position. And the last position is when you're now running out of ideas and you don't know how to hold this baby anymore. And this is the upright position, and it really helps with relieving gas as well. An upright position is literally what it says. You keep the baby upright, but support is very important here, where you have one hand supporting across the belly and holding underneath the chin to keep the baby in a straight line. The other hand is under the bum, and you can walk around with the baby like this. You can sit, you can sway, you can walk, and I can even put them to sleep. It is quite comfy, and it's great to burp if you have something like an exercise ball where you can sit and bounce a little bit. Now, just a side note, before I show you how you can hand your baby to someone, new parents are often very awkward or uncomfortable holding their babies. So they keep changing positions as they are trying to find a position that feels more comfortable and that looks more comfortable for the baby. And this constant changing of the position can be quite tiresome for babies. Their bodies do get sore from a lot of handling. So pick a position. If they're uncomfortable, you can change the position, but try not to keep changing a baby from this position. Then it's 2 minutes, and then you change the baby, and it's then on the shoulder, and then you get tired, so you just hold the baby, and now you walk around like this, and then you put the baby here. Oh, lost the dummy there. They do get tired. So if they fall asleep in a position, keep them in that position. Sit down with them, walk around with them, or just put them down to sleep a little bit. Also remember, if they have any trapped air bubbles that didn't come out with burping, every time you change a position, those air bubbles move. If you're lucky, they come out at the top. If not, they might start causing cramps. So you go from having a baby that is fairly comfortable, now you change the position, and suddenly this baby is now restless because now that air bubble gets trapped. Look, if your baby keeps on crying, by all means find a different position, but there are reasons why they cry. So if they're not settling, rather see if you can find out what the source of the crying is than just keep changing the positions. Now lastly, how do I hand my baby to someone? Well, the big thing to remember here is support the back and make sure that the person taking the baby from you has got a firm hold. When you pick the baby up, you slide one hand under the baby's head and you slide the other hand under the bum, and this is how you pick your baby up so that you know that they're supported and they can't flop anywhere. Now you want to hand them to someone. How do you do that this baby doesn't flop around? So as I get older, this is probably the easiest position, where you can just hand them and the other person puts their hands underneath and take the baby from you. But with a newborn, that is sometimes difficult because they are so floppy. So the easiest way to hand them over is in the cradle position, where you take the baby's head in the one hand, and then you take the baby's bottom in your other hand, and now you have a pretty secure grip, and you put the baby as they are lying like this into someone who is already holding their arm in the cradle hold, and you just put the baby on top, which means this person is receiving this baby like this, and the baby is in a secure hold. If you are having twins and sitting with babies like this, you're going to need some help in the beginning, because there's no way where you can protect the head of the baby nicely to hand them to someone. So rather, if you want to hand a baby to someone else, let them take the baby from you by taking the baby like this from you, or alternatively put one baby down. So if you're on the bed or on the couch, you can, because you've got a grip on the baby here, you can lie the baby down carefully somewhere flat next to you just for a moment. So always keep safety in mind. Pull out your arm, which means your baby is lying there next to you, and then you can now give this baby, and then you just pick up your other baby again. Give yourself a little bit of time to practice. You'll get used to it very quickly. And if you do want to check out what you can expect in 24 hours from a newborn, have a look at this video right here.